On the 5th of October, something beyond ordinary understanding begins to move. It is not an event in the world outside. It is a shift that starts deep within. The world may continue to rush, people may continue to speak, but only a few will notice that something has changed. The ones who are awake will not wait for a sign in the sky. They will feel it inside their chest, a quiet pulse that whispers, now is the moment to awaken. To awaken does not mean to simply open your eyes. Everyone opens their eyes in the morning, but very few truly see. The real awakening begins when you stop running from yourself, when you stop filling your silence with noise, when you allow yourself to sit with your own thoughts, even the painful ones, without escaping. On 5th of October, the call is not to the world, the call is to your soul. The question is not whether the voice will speak, it always does. The question is whether you are quiet enough to hear it. There is a great misunderstanding in life that growth comes from learning more, but real growth comes from unlearning the illusions that have kept you blind. You were told to chase comfort, to avoid pain, to seek validation. Yet the divine voice never hides in comfort. It lives in the silence of your discipline. On 5 October, you are being invited to step beyond the fog of distraction, beyond the endless search for meaning outside of yourself. This is the day when your awareness must become your weapon, when your stillness must become your strength. The awakened do not react, they observe. When life throws chaos, they remain calm. When others complain, they listen. They are not moved by every emotion or thought that passes through the mind. They understand that emotions are weather and the soul is the sky. On 5 October, you are being shown the same truth. Everything around you may shift, but within you there is something that does not move. That stillness is where the voice of truth speaks. You cannot hear the divine message if your mind is constantly loud. The world has trained you to stay busy, to scroll, to consume, to compare. But noise is the enemy of clarity. The one who cannot sit in silence cannot understand life. On 5 October, silence becomes your teacher. In the quiet, the mind resists. It brings memories, doubts, fears. But if you endure that inner storm long enough, something remarkable happens. The noise begins to dissolve. What remains is you, raw, awake, unguarded. In that space, the voice of guidance becomes clear, and you begin to recognize it not as something foreign, but as something that has always been there. Every person alive has two lives, the one they are living and the one they are meant to live. The difference between the two begins with awareness. On 5th of October, the line between these two lives becomes visible. It is the moment you realize that no one is coming to save you, no external event will awaken you. The awakening is a choice. You either open your eyes now or continue to sleep while the truth passes by. The awakened choose to rise, not because it is easy, but because they know sleep is death disguised as comfort. This day marks a separation. Those who remain asleep will keep chasing noise, believing they are alive. Those who awaken will begin to see that life is not happening to them, but through them. Awareness becomes the bridge between the seen and the unseen. When you live in awareness, every breath becomes sacred. Every moment becomes an opportunity to grow. On the 5th of October, you are asked to stop running from what you already know, that you are meant to evolve. You are meant to rise from the dust of confusion and return to the clarity that was once natural to you. Awakening is not about perfection. It is about honesty. It is about admitting that you have been asleep, that you have been distracted, that you have ignored the voice calling you back home. It is about forgiving yourself for the time wasted in blindness. On the 5th of October, this forgiveness becomes your key. Once you release guilt, you create space for light to enter. You begin to live not by reaction, but by awareness. You become aware of your thoughts, your energy, your choices. You begin to walk differently. Not faster, but with purpose. The voice that speaks on the 5th of October is not from the clouds or from a distant God. It speaks from within you, through your discipline, through your courage, through your truth. To hear it, you must stop arguing with reality. You must surrender your need to control everything and instead become one with the flow of what is. The awake do not resist life. They understand it, they move with it. And in that movement, they find strength. When the day comes, the world may look the same. The sun will rise, the wind will blow, people will rush to their routines. But for the ones who are awake, 5 October will not just be another date. It will be the moment they finally see, the moment they understand that silence is not emptiness, it is fullness. That stillness is not weakness, it is power. That listening is not passive, it is the deepest act of strength. On this day, though the noise of the world will try to drown the whisper of truth, but the awake will already know the whisper is louder than the storm. They will walk calmly, their eyes open, their hearts steady. They will not need to search for signs because they have become the sign themselves. And from that moment forward, life will never sound the same again. On a 5 October, awareness becomes the line that separates the lost from the awakened. The world will not change overnight, but how you see it will. Many will continue to walk, talk, and breathe, yet they will remain asleep, not because their eyes are closed, but because their minds are chained by distraction. Awareness is not about what you look at, it is about what you of us see. On this day, you are being called to lift the veil, to break through the fog of noise that has numbed the human spirit for too long. The world has become addicted to noise. Endless talking, scrolling, judging, comparing. Every sound pulls you away from yourself. Every distraction steals a piece of your presence. On 5 October, you are reminded that true power begins the moment you stop being dragged by the noise of others. Awareness is the art of coming back to yourself, back to the stillness where truth lives. It is not an idea, not a philosophy. It is a discipline, a daily practice of seeing without distortion, listening without reaction, and acting without fear. When awareness awakens, the world slows down. You begin to notice what was always there, but hidden behind your restlessness. The breath, the heartbeat, the subtle feeling of life moving through you. This is not something you discover outside, it happens inside quietly. On 5 October, the awakened will feel this shift. The distracted will not. They will be too busy chasing shadows, seeking validation, arguing with illusions. The awake will stand still and watch as the unseen becomes visible. Awareness does not arrive through effort, it arrives through presence. You cannot force it, you can only allow it. The moment you stop running, the truth begins to appear. On 5 October, the world tests you with temptation, noise, urgency, false importance. It whispers, look here, listen there, chase this. But awareness is the refusal to be moved by the world's games. It is the inner declaration that says, I will not lose myself again. When you are aware, you begin to see that most of what occupies the mind is useless weight. Thoughts about the past that cannot be changed. Worries about the future that may never happen. Arguments that only feed the ego. Awareness cuts through all of this like a sword. On a 5 October, this sword becomes your tool. It is time to cut away everything that dulls your inner clarity. To stop reacting to every emotion and instead observe it. To stop explaining yourself to those who do not listen. To stop being a slave to thoughts that do not serve your evolution. Distraction is the greatest weapon of darkness. It keeps humanity asleep, chasing things that do not matter while forgetting who they are. The awake see this trap and step out of it. They no longer waste their attention on gossip, chaos, or endless opinions. They guard their energy like sacred fire. On 5 October, you must decide whether you will be one of them. Whether you will let your awareness become your shield. Awareness turns pain into wisdom. The unaware suffer endlessly because they resist what is happening. The aware see pain as a teacher, a message, a path to growth. When you awaken and stop asking why me and start seeing what for, you understand that life never punishes, it instructs. 5 October is the day you stop running from your lessons and start learning from them. Every emotion, every challenge, every delay becomes a mirror. showing you where your awareness still sleeps. When you live without awareness, life feels heavy, chaotic, meaningless. You move through days as if blindfolded, reacting to everything, creating drama from shadows. But when awareness opens, even the simplest act, walking, breathing, listening, becomes sacred. You begin to feel alive in a way that cannot be explained. The light within you sharpens, and you see how much of your life has been wasted in sleep. On 5 October, that sleep ends for those who dare to look inward. This awakening does not make you better than others. It makes you more responsible. Once you see clearly, you cannot pretend anymore. You can no longer participate in the distractions that once comforted you. You cannot speak lies that once kept you safe. Awareness demands truth, and truth demands courage. On the 5th of October, courage will be the bridge between your old self and the one waiting to rise. The awake understand that awareness is not something you turn on once and forget. It must be protected, nourished, trained like a muscle. Every moment of awareness expands your consciousness. Every moment of distraction pulls you back into sleep. Life will test you again and again. But with each test, you will see faster, react slower, and understand deeper. This is how the awakened move through the world, not with speed, but with precision. The voice that calls on 5th October is not a command. It is a reminder to wake up from the illusion that life is happening outside of you. Everything begins within. The world reflects the state of your awareness. The more awake you are, the more clearly you see that every moment is an opportunity to rise higher. Awareness is not about controlling the world, it is about mastering yourself. As 5 October unfolds, some will still be lost in noise, but a few will hear the silent call. They will step away from the chaos, breathe deeply, and awaken to a clarity they cannot describe. They will walk through the same world, yet it will no longer feel the same. Every sound will carry meaning. Every movement will hold purpose. Because when you awaken, the ordinary becomes divine. And once that happens, there is no going back to sleep. On the 5th of October, the testing begins. It is not a test of strength, not a test of knowledge, but a test of awareness and truth. Life will place you face to face with your own limits, your fears, your attachments. It will ask you one question through silence. Are you awake or are you still pretending? Many speak about awakening, but few live it. This day is not for words. It is for endurance, for presence, for standing firm when the unseen begins to shake everything that is false within you. The ones who are chosen are not chosen by luck. They are chosen by discipline. They are chosen because they do not run when life becomes heavy. On 5 October, the world will move fast. Emotions will rise. People will react, but the awake will remain still. They will not panic. They will not seek escape. They will remember that the storm is not punishment. It is purification. The test comes to see if your awareness is real or just an idea. Anyone can speak about growth when life is calm, but when pressure arrives, your truth is revealed. Tests do not come to break you. They come to show you what still controls you. If you feel anger, it means anger still rules you. If you feel fear, it means fear still lives within you. Awareness is the light that exposes these shadows. On 5 October, that light shines bright and everything false will tremble. You will not be tested for destruction. You will be tested for transformation. Each challenge is a mirror reflecting what must still be released. The test is not against you. It is for you. When you face difficulty, the untrained mind reacts. It complains, blames, resists. The awake mind observes, breathes, adapts. This is the difference between the sleeping and the awakened. On 5 October, life will place situations that demand calmness. It may take away something you were attached to. It may confront you with someone who triggers you. It may show you that the world does not move according to your wishes. The point is not to win every situation. It is to master your inner state while you face them. Many want to awaken, but few are willing to be tested. They speak of light, but avoid the fire that forges it. The truth is simple: no one rises without being burned first. On a 5 of October, the fire will rise, and it will not destroy you. It will burn the illusions, the ego, the false identity that you have been protecting. The more you resist, the longer it hurts. The more you accept, the faster you transform. When you finally surrender to the test, peace returns. The moment you stop fighting your growth, the lesson turns into wisdom. Every great transformation begins in discomfort. On a 5 of October, you will feel the edges of your old self trying to hold on. But remember, pain is not the enemy. Attachment is. The purpose of this test is not to make you suffer, but to remind you that you are not what you cling to. When something leaves your life, do not see loss, see space being created for something higher. When you fail, do not see weakness, see refinement. The awakened understand that every test hides a message, and that message is evolution. You must train yourself to see through difficulty, not react to it. When challenges come, stay present. Observe. Do not ask, why this? Instead, say, show me what I must learn. This is how the awake walk through fire without fear. They understand that the divine does not send comfort, it sends clarity. And clarity comes through experience, through being stripped of what is no longer needed. On a 5 October, when things feel heavy, remember that the test is proof that you are being prepared for something greater. Growth never happens in ease. It happens when you are pushed to your edge and still choose awareness. It happens when life says, let go, and you listen. The chosen are not the ones who never fall. They are the ones who rise again with understanding. On 5 of October, you will see that every test is sacred. It is the moment when the divine observes whether your words match your actions, whether your awareness survives pressure, whether your silence remains stable when chaos arrives. There will be moments when you will want to give up, when everything feels uncertain. But that is when the breakthrough begins. The test becomes unbearable only when you resist it. If you allow it to flow, it transforms into light. Awareness is the difference between pain and progress. Without awareness, pain feels endless. With awareness, it becomes a bridge. On the 5th of October, walk that bridge. Cross from reaction to understanding, from confusion to clarity. This day will not announce itself with thunder. It will come quietly through events, through emotions, through people. But you will know it, you will feel it in your heart. A deep call to remain steady. The ones who stay aware through the storm will rise stronger than before. The ones who react will sink back into sleep. Life is not cruel, it is precise. It gives the exact lesson needed to awaken the exact part of you that has been sleeping. The test is sacred because it reveals your truth. Anyone can appear peaceful when all is well. True calmness is proven only when everything falls apart. On a 5 of October, if your inner peace remains untouched, you will know you have crossed the threshold. You will no longer be controlled by what happens outside. You will move with grace even when the world trembles. That is the sign of the awake. In the end, the purpose of 5 of October is not to test your endurance. It is to remind you of your power. It is to awaken the silent strength that has always been within you. You were not made to live asleep, reacting endlessly to the chaos around you. You were made to walk through fire with awareness, to transform pain into purpose, and to rise beyond what you once believed was your limit. When this test comes, do not fear it, welcome it. It is not the end, it is the beginning of who you truly are. On the 5th October, silence will become the most powerful force in your life. The voice that changes you will not come from outside. It will not come through words, noise, or movement. It will come through stillness, the kind of silence that does not beg for attention, but transforms everything it touches. The divine voice is not hidden. It is simply drowned by the endless noise of the world. On this day, the world will grow louder. Yet those who are awake will grow quieter. They will listen, not with their ears, but with their entire being. To hear what is sacred, you must first stop speaking within yourself. The mind is always talking, judging, fearing, planning, remembering. It creates so much sound that the truth cannot be heard. On 5th of October, that noise will be challenged. Life will bring moments that demand stillness, not reaction. You will be asked to pause before responding, to breathe before deciding, to observe before speaking. This is how you begin to hear what has been waiting for you all along, the quiet, steady voice that guides your path. The voice of truth does not shout, it whispers. It has no need to convince you. It waits until you are ready to listen. But to listen, you must become silent inside. Most people never experience silence. They think silence is the absence of sound. But real silence is the absence of disturbance. You can be in a crowded place and still be silent within. You can be surrounded by noise and still be untouched by it. On a 5th of October, silence becomes your strength. It becomes your teacher. It becomes your doorway to hearing the divine. Stillness is not laziness. It is power under control. When the mind becomes still, it does not fall asleep, it awakens. It sees clearly, acts with precision, and speaks only when necessary. In stillness, your actions become sharp, your words become few, and your awareness becomes deep. The divine voice speaks through that stillness. It guides your next step, not through commands, but through clarity. On 5th of October, the ones who are awake will understand that movement without stillness is chaos, and stillness without awareness is emptiness. The balance of both creates power. Many think they need to go far to hear the truth. They climb mountains, travel to temples, seek teachers, chase enlightenment. Yet, the truth has always been speaking inside them. The problem is not that the divine is silent. The problem is that your mind is too loud. On 5 October, the illusion breaks. You will realize that the voice you have been waiting for was never absent. It was only buried under the noise of doubt, fear, and constant distraction. The moment you become silent, you will feel it, not as a sound, but as a knowing. Stillness reveals what noise hides. When you become still, the masks fall away. You begin to see yourself as you truly are, not as the world defines you, but as consciousness itself. This is the awakening that 5 October brings. The moment you stop running, you meet yourself, you see your patterns, your habits, your attachments. You see how much of your life has been shaped by noise that never belonged to you. Silence cuts through illusion. It shows you that the only voice worth following is the one that comes from awareness, not fear. On this day, learn to sit in silence without searching for comfort. At first, the mind will fight. It will throw thoughts, memories, emotions, anything to escape stillness. It will try to pull you back into the noise. But if you endure this battle, something miraculous happens. The mind begins to quiet down. You begin to see between thoughts. You begin to feel a space, a vast calmness that cannot be disturbed. That space is where the divine speaks. On the 5th of October, this realization becomes alive for those who are ready. The divine voice never argues. It never pushes. It simply waits. You must learn to match its rhythm, to slow down, to breathe, to return to presence. This is why discipline is sacred. Without discipline, silence becomes laziness. With discipline, silence becomes awareness. Every time you bring your attention back to your breath, every time you pause before reacting, you are training yourself to hear the truth more clearly. This is not about religion, it is about connection. 5 of October calls you to reconnect, not with the world, but with the part of you that never sleeps. When silence becomes your companion, you no longer depend on the world for direction. You move with inner certainty. You stop needing validation, approval, or recognition. You walk quietly, but your presence speaks loudly. People will feel it. They may not understand it, but they will notice that you no longer move like before. You have become tuned to something higher, something invisible. This is what it means to hear the divine voice, to be guided not by thoughts, but by awareness itself. On the 5th of October, those who are awake will not seek to be louder, they will seek to be clearer. They will no longer waste words. Their silence will carry energy, their stillness will carry truth. This is the mark of transformation, when you no longer react to noise because you have learned to listen to the silence within. The divine does not enter through chaos, it enters through stillness. This day is a reminder that silence is not emptiness. Silence is the birthplace of creation. Every idea, every change, every transformation begins in silence. The universe itself was born from stillness. On a 5th of October, the same silence will call you home. It will not beg. It will not demand. It will simply wait for you to stop running long enough to hear. When that moment comes, everything will shift. The world will not look different, but you will. You will walk with calmness in chaos, with clarity in confusion, with light in darkness. Because once you hear the divine voice through stillness, you can never unhear it. It becomes your compass, your anchor, your truth. And from that moment, every breath, every action, every thought becomes guided not by the noise of the world, but by the quiet power that 5 October awakens within you. On the 5th of October, the separation begins. The line between those who sleep and those who awaken becomes clear. This day will not arrive with thunder, yet its energy will divide the world in silence. You will see it not with your eyes, but through awareness. The difference will not be in the sky or the ground. It will be in the state of human consciousness. Some will continue to chase distractions, drowning deeper into illusion. Others will finally awaken, no longer fooled by the noise that has kept them blind for so long. This separation is not about judgment. It is not about better or worse. It is about vibration. The asleep and the awake cannot walk the same path anymore. Their focus, their energy, their purpose have grown apart. On 5 October, you will feel this shift. The pull to rise higher, to step out of the fog that once seemed normal. The world will keep spinning, but your awareness will no longer move with it. You will begin to see how people live trapped in reaction and how awareness allows you to move with intention. Those who remain asleep will look alive, but they are not living. They speak, but their words are echoes of fear. They act, but their actions come from confusion. They keep searching for something they already have but cannot feel. Their eyes are open, yet they do not see. On the 5th of October, life will whisper a truth they cannot hear, that awareness is freedom and distraction is the cage. The awake will hear it clearly because their hearts are silent enough to listen. Awakening is not a destination, it is a decision. The moment you decide to see, the world begins to reveal its true face. But that choice comes with responsibility. When you awaken, you can no longer hide behind excuses. You can no longer follow blindly. You begin to see how every choice carries energy, how every thought shapes your reality. On 5 October, this understanding will deepen. You will realize that the separation between the awake and the asleep is not created by others. It is created by your own decision to stay conscious. Those who awaken walk differently. They no longer react to every emotion or opinion. They are not controlled by fear, nor moved by noise. They have seen through the illusion of constant movement, and they now live through presence. On 5 October, that presence will be tested. The world will try to pull you back into the rush, the noise, the endless opinions. But you must stay still. You must remember that awareness does not chase, it observes. You are not here to argue with the sleeping. You are here to live so consciously that your presence becomes a silent reminder of what it means to be awake. The separation is not about isolation, it is about clarity. When you awaken, you stop seeking approval from the world. You stop waiting for others to understand you. The truth no longer needs validation. It simply exists. On a 5 October, truth will not shout, it will stand quietly. While illusions fall apart, you will feel the weight of your old habits, but you will also feel the pull of your higher self calling you forward. This is the moment to choose awareness over comfort. Truth over distraction, growth over numbness. The asleep cling to comfort. They hide behind routine, behind familiar pain, behind the illusion of control. The awake embrace uncertainty. They understand that growth is not safe, but it is real. On 5th of October, life will invite you to step into discomfort, to face what you have been avoiding, to let go of what no longer serves your spirit. This is how the separation becomes visible. The asleep resist change, the awake evolve through it. Awakening is not always beautiful. It strips you bare, removes the masks you've worn, and exposes the truth beneath. Many cannot handle that truth, so they choose sleep. But the awake choose courage. They understand that pain is not punishment, it is purification. 5 October will bring clarity that feels heavy, but only because it's real. When illusions dissolve, emptiness appears first, but that emptiness is sacred. It is the space where awareness grows. As this separation deepens, the awake will walk lighter. They will carry fewer burdens because they no longer attach meaning to every passing event. They will find peace not by controlling life, but by aligning with it. On 5 of October, you will feel this alignment as a quiet strength, a knowing that no matter what happens outside, your inner state remains unshaken. This is the sign that you have crossed the line between sleeping and waking. There will be people who try to pull you back, who do not understand your calmness or your silence. Do not fight them. They are still dreaming. Your task is not to wake them up with force, but to stay awake yourself. Light never argues with darkness. It simply shines. On 5 October, become that light. Stay aware. Stay grounded. Let your actions, not your words, become your teaching. The world needs those who are awake, not for praise, but for balance. When fear rises, the awake bring calm. When confusion spreads, the awake bring clarity. When chaos grows, the awake stands still. This is not a role given to you. It is a responsibility you choose by staying conscious. 5 October marks that choice. It is the moment you either continue in sleep, reacting blindly, or awaken fully and live with intention. Those who awaken will not seek to convince anyone. They will walk quietly, their awareness radiating without effort. They will no longer ask for direction because they have become the direction. They will no longer chase peace because they have become peace. 5 October is not about prophecy. It is about recognition. Recognizing that the world you see is a mirror of your consciousness. When this day ends, nothing outside may seem different, but inside, everything will be. The separation will already have taken place. You will know who you are, not through thought, but through stillness. The asleep will continue dreaming. The awake will begin creating. And from that moment forward, 5 October will be remembered not as a date, but as the day the awakened began to rise. On 5 of October, a new wave begins. It is not a wave of destruction, but of transformation. Something deep within the human spirit starts to shift. The world you once knew will not end, but the way you see it will. The energy of this day carries the message of renewal, the silent command to rise higher, to evolve beyond what you have known yourself to be. It is not a call for comfort, it is a call for change. Only those who are awake will hear it, and only those who act on it will grow from it. Transformation does not happen by waiting. It happens through awareness and courage. On 5 October, you are not being asked to believe. You are being asked to move away from the person you once were, the habits that no longer serve you, the fears that keep you small. Change begins not when life forces you, but when you decide to face the truth. The old patterns will try to return, whispering that safety lies in staying the same. But transformation has no place for comfort. Growth requires shedding, and 5 October will make this shedding unavoidable. The ones who are awake understand that evolution is not about becoming someone new. It is about remembering who you truly are beneath everything you have been taught to be. On 5 October, life will remind you that you are not your pain, not your past, not your failures. You are awareness itself, silent, powerful, limitless. The transformation this day brings is not about doing more, it is about just being more conscious. When you live with awareness, every breath becomes sacred, every decision becomes a step toward freedom. This new era begins within, not outside. The world may seem louder, faster, more unstable, but those who awaken will move differently. They will not fight the chaos, they will use it as fuel. On 5 October, confusion becomes clarity for the one who watches, not reacts. Each moment of discomfort becomes an opportunity to grow deeper, to understand yourself beyond emotion, beyond reaction, beyond form. The transformation is subtle but irreversible. Once you awaken, you cannot unsee the truth. The asleep will keep chasing meaning in places it cannot be found. They will seek control, seek distraction, seek escape. But the awake will understand that meaning is not something to find, it is something to live. On 5 October, this understanding will root itself inside you. You will stop looking for light and start being the light. You will stop waiting for signs and start listening to the guidance that has always been within you. The new era of growth begins when you stop running from your own reflection. Transformation demands honesty. You must face yourself without hiding, without excuse, without fear. The masks you have worn, strength, confidence, identity, will begin to fall. You will feel exposed, vulnerable, uncertain. But this is the birth of something real. On a 5 October, this rawness becomes your teacher. The moment you stop pretending, life can finally begin to move through you freely. The divine voice does not speak to the one who hides, it speaks to the one who is real, and the old world inside you will resist. The mind will try to pull you back into familiar patterns. It will say, stay safe, stay the same. But this day carries a deeper wisdom, the understanding that safety is an illusion if it costs your growth. To stay where you are is to decay slowly. To rise is to live. On 5th October, choose rising, choose expansion, choose the unknown. It will not destroy you, it will shape you into what you were meant to become. Transformation is not about rejecting the past. It is about using it as fuel. Every mistake, every failure, every wound becomes sacred material for your evolution. The awakened do not regret the past. They refine it. They understand that every scar carries wisdom. Every pain carries a message. On a 5th October, those who awaken will finally see that their suffering was never in vain. It was preparation. The lessons that once hurt will now guide. The burdens that once felt heavy will now reveal strength. This new era of transformation is not about competition or comparison. It is about alignment. You are not here to be better than anyone. You are here to become more yourself. On a 5 October, you will feel this alignment take root. The clarity that your path is unique, your timing is sacred, and your purpose cannot be copied. The noise of the world will fade because awareness makes imitation impossible. When you are connected to your essence, authenticity becomes your natural state. The world will need the awakened now more than ever. The ones who rise on 5 of October will not rise for themselves alone. They will rise to guide others by example. They will walk calmly through storms, carrying light through confusion, speaking less but meaning more. Their transformation will not be loud, it will be steady. The real revolution will happen in silence, one conscious soul at a time. As this day unfolds, you will begin to see that everything you once resisted was designed to push you into awakening. Nothing was wasted. Nothing was random. 5 of October will show you that even your pain was sacred training. Every challenge was a mirror. Every ending was a doorway. The transformation that begins here is not temporary, it is eternal. Once you awaken, you begin to live on a higher frequency. The things that once drained you lose their power. The distractions that once ruled you dissolve. The fear that once stopped you fades into understanding. On this day, let go of who you were. Step into the unknown with awareness. Feel every breath as a symbol of rebirth. The past will try to speak, but you will not answer. You have outgrown that voice. You have learned that Peace is not found in the absence of struggle, but in the mastery of yourself. 5th October will not change the world around you, it will change the world within you. And once that happens, nothing outside can remain the same. The transformation of this day is quiet, but it is absolute. You will feel lighter, clearer, stronger. You will stop searching for signs because you will have become one. The new era begins not in the sky, not in prophecy, but in your consciousness. 5th October is the threshold. Cross it and you step into a life where awareness leads, silence teaches, and truth becomes your only guide. From that moment forward, you will no longer wait for change. You will become it.